Here's two crops that you're growing that I think are somewhat unique, and they're nice because they're shelf stable. They're sitting in your shipping container. Can you talk about first this one? This is elephant garlic. Why grow it?
Elephant garlic in particular it grows really well. Great big bulbs. To me, it's a great flavor. It's not as hot and spicy, so it's more palatable to a lot of people. It's the big size cloves, so you know you're not dealing with a whole bunch of little bitty cloves that are tough to peel, and it grows really well without a whole lot of input because it gets so much larger. It gets as tall or taller than any of the grass that grows around it. So it's easier to weed being a larger plant. Um, I find it just easier to deal with. And we grew 4 beds of elephant garlic and then 5 beds of a hardneck and a soft neck, one type of soft neck garlic, and it just outperformed everything. It's so much easier to harvest, and it stores really well for us. I'm only going to replant elephant garlic this year.
How do the CSA customers like it?
They like it a lot. There's a few people that are like, "Oh, those cloves are too big," but
Somebody's always going to have a problem.
Yeah. So somebody did say, "Oh, it broke my garlic crusher." I was like, "Well, maybe you need to cut it up in a little bit of a piece."
Right, right. And from a practical standpoint, you've harvested these now. So they're sitting in your shipping container. How many weeks of CSA can you potentially distribute these through?
Our elephant garlic crop will be in 12 weeks of CSA total for this year.
So it's huge. I mean, it's one nice thing that you don't have to worry about harvesting now on a week-to-week basis. You always know the garlic's there until it's gone.
Yeah, and it was one big push in May to get it out of the air and get it, drying in our container with a bunch of fans going, and then, we needed to clean it up, and we did that just kind of as time allowed. So it takes a little bit of processing time, but it's not like, it's something that could be done in the dark.
Right.
So.
And you have the space. So one reason somebody in a more intense, urban, small lot situation might not want to grow this is because of its value per square foot, but
sure,
you have the land, so why not?
Right.
And the other thing you do grow is right here, purple sweet potatoes. You have the space for them. They're shelf stable, so it works well into the CSA. Can you talk about not just why sweet potatoes, but why the purple ones?
Yeah, here in North Mississippi, we're close to an area that claims to be one of the sweet potato capitals of the world. They grow, more sweet potatoes there per capita than anywhere else. And so an orange sweet potato for me would be a hard sell. You could get a case of them for so cheap. So to kind of differentiate, growing something purple, the restaurants like to buy them. It's not something that people see just at every grocery store, and so it's something a little different. And the storage ability of them, once they're cured, we'll have them for a couple of months. They'll make it through the whole CSA season for the fall, and possibly have a few to start the spring CSA.
Yeah, it's really great to see. And from a workload standpoint, how much work is a sweet potato from start to finish?
Yeah, so to get them started, we started with just some sections of vines that have already rooted, and it takes no time to plant, 100 of those down a 100-foot row. So we're planting them at 1-foot spacing. We just open up a trench, throw them in there, and then come back with a rake, raking the soil over them. And then, you need to keep the weeds off of them for the first 3, maybe 4 weeks, which would take just a quick pass. We were able to go through with the power harrow between the rows, and even the rotary plow as they got a little bit bigger, and just to keep the aisles clean. And then once they cover the aisles with their vines, we actually didn't touch them we didn't touch them at all in July. We sold some greens off of them in August to some restaurants, and we had them once in the CSA. And then, we had 2 big days of digging them and picking them all up. And, So they were pretty minimal work. We didn't have to go back and check on them much.
So that's not bad at all. And given that these are now harvested, sitting in the bin, how long will you get in terms of CSA distribution on these?
So they will be part of the CSA for 5 weeks for the fall, and then we might get a sixth week in the spring if we haven't sold them all to restaurants.
Yeah, no, two great crops to grow. If you haven't grown them, think about growing them.
So these are Asian radish, the daikon, the purple daikon or cayenne bravo, the shunkyo radish, and then a red meat or watermelon radish. And for us, we'll sell them with their tops on. This fall we'll dig some as to sell with their tops for part of the CSA and sell to the restaurants. But here in a couple of weeks, when at the end of the CSA, we'll dig all of the rest of them because we don't have any super cold weather coming yet, which would knock their tops back. But so we'll be able to dig them all, top them, and store them in bags in a cooler at my house and sell them out through all the way to the spring. We had daikon and watermelon radish go into the restaurants this past spring all the way till March. And so getting a couple of months of selling these heavy radish at $2 a pound is kind of nice as another thing that we've already done all the work on.